Hi, I hope you guys can hear me. If not, let me know and I will turn up the sound. Okay, I'm just trying to also go live on TikTok at the same time. Um, we are. Don't mind me. Okay, let's. Can everybody hear me? Please, at least let me know in the chat because I have no idea. And there's like 3 people on here, so somebody should be able to tell me. Wow, okay. So, if you see me bouncing around, I'm on YouTube and TikTok at the same time going live. You might be able to see my mic right in front of me here. This is for YouTube. AirPods are for TikTok. We're all over the place. So, yeah, it's we'll see how this goes, okay? What is you telling me? Okay, I don't wanna see my real-time performance TikTok, thank you very much. Okay, um wow, there are weirdly more people on TikTok live than there are on YouTube. Anyway, so, I'm crocheting a cardigan. This started a couple of weeks ago where I was challenging myself to see if I could make a cardigan in a week. Um, and then, of course, I was doing it for a video, uh, as, why else would I challenge myself? And, it's taken definitely more than a week, for sure. I need to make 60 granny square or 66 granny squares, then I need to sew them all together, and I also needed to do the back, which was one big granny square, and that'll need a couple of panels down the side to make it wider. I wanted to keep it cropped. Anyway, I don't wanna give it all away, because um, it is gonna be a video, a full-length video on my YouTube, so, anyway, uh, I need to kick it into gear because the video needs to come out next Tuesday, so a week from today, and I work 3 days this week at my part-time job on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I will have Sunday to sew it together and finish it, um, and then I will have Monday to edit it, I guess. So I need to make 36 more squares, and I know that's not all gonna happen tonight, but I am definitely going to try. So if you have any questions or comments, um, feel free to leave them in the chat and I will try and answer them. Because I'm doing 2 streams at the same time. I will try and, like, read the comment out as I see it, so that you're both in on the conversation, okay? So, um, I oops, this is the last ball of yarn I was working with. It looks a little depleted, but, um, yes. Anyway, so this yarn is just, like, a really cheap acrylic from Michaels. I kind of prefer acrylic yarn to fancy yarn. It feels like it gives me a bit more freedom to play with it and not be super worried that I'm gonna ruin it. Um, and I like that freedom. If I was making something super special, then maybe I would shell out for the yarn, but it's really just not in my budget right now. And I don't want to be scared to use my yarn. I used to have a lot of really nice yarn when I was in school, because I was learning to crochet and they required that we use the fancy ones. So, yes. Anyway, so I am working on a granny square, and these take about half an hour each, maybe a little less now, but I find that um, my shoulder is starting to hurt a lot, and I have to like take more frequent breaks because I think I'm just an aggressive crocheter. I don't know, maybe I move my arm too much. So, but yeah. And let me know if you guys can hear me all right. Um, I hope all the audio is working. Um, if not, uh, hopefully we can get that fixed. And I'm just going to hang out and crochet. So feel free to join in. Um, TikTok is telling me to encourage you to share my live and invite more friends. So if you would like to do that, feel free. If not, I am not fussed either way. Um, I'm happy I was able to actually like open my window today. Mostly because my dog spent the entire day just farting all day in my room. So it just smells like dog farts in here, and I need to air it out because that my dog's farts are not pleasant. Okay, I'm not sure any dog fart is pleasant, but hers seem to be particularly bad sometimes. First square down. Well, first center down. We have to do 5 rounds, so to make them the size that I need them. I did all the math beforehand, so like I figured out how many I need for the front and the sleeves, and the back is all one panel. So I don't need to do any for that, which is great because it saves me some time. Um, okay, have not missed any comments. I'm not doing that like really spacey granny square. This one has a bit more to it. I know I would have probably been able to do the other one faster, but I just like how this one was a little bit more filled in, and it will be easier to sew together later. My plan is to sew them together on my sewing machine, not by hand, because I think that'll go faster. And to be honest, I would much rather use a sewing machine. I hate hand sewing. The first bunch of squares I made were all ripply, like they were just not quite right, and I didn't redo them once I figured out that what the problem was, but I was putting like one extra stitch in each side. That not that I was doing it wrong, it's that it just that was what tipped it over from being flat to being a bit rippled. And so on the subsequent ones, I have left out that extra stitch. But I kept going, thinking, like, what am I doing wrong? What is going on here? Anyways, would you guys prefer I just sit here sort of in silence and crochet away? I don't know what is more entertaining for you. I don't know if I can sit for a couple of hours in silence. Certainly not going to be ASMR like. Um, Okay, so where did I yeah. Um, my day was weird. Weird. Let's go with weird. So I found that once I take my ADHD meds, which I at the beginning of this year switched from Concerta to Vyvanse. Um, Once I take them, if I don't immediately start working or like doing something for work, then I will end up in like a doom scroll hyperfixation scroll where all I do all day is scroll on social media or today it was AliExpress. And like I sometimes I am just like I just want to scroll and see the fun inexpensive things on AliExpress. But a couple weeks ago, I bought something on there, and now I just keep going back on there to, like, see all of the cute things, and I won't buy most of them, because, like, AliExpress really should be used for, like, ordering wholesale and, finding things that, like, you really can't find other places, like, even stuff I was looking for on Amazon, there and it doesn't exist. If I go on AliExpress, I can find it. So, um, I don't, um I don't know, like, I am ashamed to say, like, I spent all day scrolling AliExpress, like, quite literally probably a total of, like, 5 hours, just laying in my bed and going between my book and scrolling AliExpress. But I'll show you what I got on there that really impressed me last week, okay? And it is this. I have, like, a TikTok about it, but it's this. It's like a faux designer handbag. It's a case for my AirPods, and it actually has real hardware. So I was expecting this to be like some cheap garbage. The faux leather is really nice. It has real hardware on it where you can actually close up the bag. So it's a little bit of a tight fit with the AirPods in there, but you just tip that over like that, put the little thingy on, and then you turn the little lock and it stays closed. Like, okay. So I got that thinking, oh my God, it's just gonna like snap here and it'll be cheap. It was only a few dollars, but like I am really impressed with the hardware on here. And I love miniature things. There's even little metal feet on it. It's like a very tiny, tiny little um handbag. Okay. So like very impressed. Um, but I don't need like a million tiny little AirPod holders, you know? I just need the one. And um, even then, like I don't know why I'm scrolling on there. Um, but I am, and I need to like break the habit because it's going to be dangerous for my wallet. And anyway, so that's what I spent my day doing, and it was weird. And um, I don't know. I would like to be more productive tomorrow. So, you know, considering it's my last free day of the week, and oh, I did do my taxes yesterday, so at least I accomplished something this week so far. And I crocheted like 9 of these squares yesterday, so that got me to 30, and I wove in all the ends, which I don't count them as finished until I've woven in the ends. So, anyways, um, Stefan or Steven, I'm not sure, um, says, "Hi Danielle, watching one of your streams for the first time. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining. Our only rule here is be nice or leave, not and leave. Be nice or leave. If you can't be nice, then you can't hang out with us." Um, all right. How often do you work in the store? It really depends. Right now it's supposed to be 2 days a week, Friday, Saturday, but I had traded with the owner, so I am working an extra day this week because, she needed me to cover Thursday, and she took my Friday last week, so I got an extra day off, last week. And it really just depends, on what's going on, different times of year. Holidays, like over Easter, will be closed like Good Friday and we'll be open Saturday, so I'll only work Saturday, that kind of thing, you know? It's very flexible and it changes all the time. I cover when the owner goes on vacation, um, but we have like another person who works there now, so it's not just me and her, so that's exciting. Where'd you find the pattern? I made it up actually. So the granny square pattern is literally just like a basic granny square, and then I'll show you the pattern. Um, so I have this notebook that I just use. It has grid paper. Um, this is what I use for my granny squares, and like if I do a little doodle or something like that, like I want to make a granny square or vest. Um, I will do that. So I saw someone who'd made themselves a cardigan. It was cropped, and it just was like, "Oh, okay. Like I could do that, you know? I could actually make a cardigan that is cropped. I don't need it to be long and um super like involved, right? And I wanted to use up this yarn. I've had it for a while. I turned it into a cardigan once, hated the cardigan, took it apart, and now it's just been sitting in the bin of my stuff. So I figured out I want the cardigan to be 25 inches long in the back. So obviously I need the front to be 25 inches. It'll probably be a little longer than that, with the banding at the bottom and also with how big the squares are. But I also need it to be 32 inches across from shoulder to shoulder. Um, and that takes it to like here-ish, you know? And then I figured out I need the sleeves to be 30 inches around and 30 inches long. So I did all of the math and I'm so sorry. One second. I was prepared for this. Um, yeah, so I did the math, figured out approximately what I needed to do. Wait, did somebody send me a gift? Oh, somebody sent me a rose. Thank you, but please don't spend your money on me on TikTok. Like thank you. I appreciate it, but don't spend your money on me like that. Um I'm in Canada, so like unless I'm going live all day every day, there's no way that is ever getting paid out to me, so it's just going to sit in TikTok's bank. So, um I'm not trying to be rude at all, but do people bully you for your size? I'm so sorry if this is offensive. It's not offensive, um, because it people do, in fact, bully me for my size, actually quite a bit. Um, I have I made a TikTok that I then uploaded to Instagram, and I know I shouldn't be saying like, you know, the words on TikTok, that could get me banned. But I put it on my Instagram and it was that audio from Glee that's going around about um all that work and what was it for? And I said something along the lines of spent 5 years and $40,000 to get a fashion diploma and never graduated, right? Which is just the honest truth, right? It was 2005 when I started. I'd love to go back and get my diploma, but it's likely never going to happen just based on like logistics alone. Um, and I don't want to spend more money to get a diploma, right? Like I don't want to spend money that I've already spent, and the program has changed so much that if I went back and did it, I would basically have to do it all over again because none of the classes are the same and they won't translate over, right? But people actually spent the comments calling me stupid, which, you know what? Okay, sure. If you think I'm stupid, right? Um, but then started people started asking if I ate the comments or if I ate the credits, sorry. And that they started making all these fat jokes, and it just like it kind of got out of hand, and I had to turn the comments off on the video. So, um, I had another video that, like, and that video's at like 125,000 views, and I only have 5,000 followers on Instagram. So, like, I don't know what the hell happened. Like, 1,500 people that follow me saw it, and then the rest of the people that have seen it are all people who don't follow me. So, like, I don't know where it got shared that, like, um, that all of these horrible people found me, but yeah, I spent the last 5 days blocking people and deleting comments and all of that, and I have to spend a lot of time just, um, doing admin on my accounts. Ruby, said, "I hope you're not getting sick," and, no, I'm not getting sick, it's just I haven't drank a lot of water today, and this is the first time I've really talked for an extensive amount, so anyways, I'll leave the lid off. Um, some people are so rude. Yes, people just think that, everything that comes into their head should be said out loud or typed into a keyboard, I guess. Um, and I've been dealing with that since I got on the internet. I've been dealing with it since I was a child when people thought it was okay to walk up to me and just say, "Oh, if you can hear that noise, it's my dog's food dispenser." It is dinner time for her, apparently. Um, people have I've been fat my whole life, and people have been coming up to me in public and telling me about their weight loss and how I should do the same thing. So, like, I have been dealing with this nonsense for a very long time. Someone else asked me, how did that make me feel? I'll be honest. It doesn't make me feel great, but also there are some very creative insults sometimes, and I do laugh at them. I do laugh at them, especially with how ridiculous people are, and also with how many times people spell lose wrong. I don't care if English is your second language. Um, honest mistake, loss or lose and loose with two O's. Fair enough, easy enough mistake to make. But if you're going to insult me, at least use lose and not loose. And it's not just me that this happens to, it happens to, like, every fat person on the internet, because it's, like, a running joke in the community. At least they said lose and not loose. Um, anyways, um, otherwise, I'm just tired of, the, like, constantly having to monitor my comments, because if I don't, and I, like, don't look at Instagram for a couple of days, which, like, let's be real, that's probably never gonna happen with how we're addicted to our phones. Um, and, uh, if I don't monitor the comments, people who do follow me and do like me, start fighting in the comments with other people. And I don't want them to have to do that. I don't want them to feel like they have to. I don't think anyone should have to waste their time besides me on those idiotic trolls. So I am a block first and don't ask questions later kind of person. It's my space. This is my corner of the internet, and I have every right to block you. The people who don't have the right to block you are politicians and public figures, like who are elected to office. They can't block you because that is censorship. Me blocking you, not censorship. Um, I graduated with a BS in dietetics. No one wants to hire an obese dietitian telling how to eat better. I mean, that's like, the opposite when people are like, "Oh, nobody wants a skinny chef." Um, there are definitely jobs um, where being thin is seems to be like a requirement, um, and you can still be an effective you can still be effective at your job, and be fat. Like, you absolutely can. Um, it just like but people really can't grasp that concept, at all. So, I mean, I wanted to work in fashion, and when I got into the world and tried to get a job in fashion, no one would hire me because I was fat. Obviously, they weren't saying that to my face, because Canadians are just a little too nice, but they will say it behind your back, no problem. So, anyways, we're on round one, two, three, four now. Mm. Some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. Oh, okay. I wonder if I have a way to see those. Nope. Okay. What part of Canada are you in? I'm in PEI. I'm in Ontario, and I'm in southeastern Ontario. So not Toronto. Sort of like halfway between Toronto and Montreal. Mhm. I don't know if I'm gonna ever get to see those comments that were not allowed, but it's gonna kill my curiosity, that's for sure. I wanna know. I also always look at, like, the direct message requests that end up in the hidden folder, and I also look at the comments that are directly put in the YouTube timeout, for comments, um, because I don't want those to build up, and then the next time the person leaves a comment, that it gets posted anyway, so if they're gonna post one rude thing, they're, like, not allowed to comment ever again. So, you can't actually block people on YouTube anymore. You used to be able to, but I don't know when they removed it in the last year or so. Now you can just hide them, like hide all of their comments, but they can still watch. So that's great. That's so great. I love not being able to keep my space safe. Oh well, at least I can earn ad revenue off them. Cool, I used to live in Keswick. I actually don't know where Keswick is. Like, I've heard of it, but I've never been there as far as I know. I'm in Kingston, so, are fat models a thing? If not, they need to be, or they need to yes, fat models are a thing. They have been for a very long time. I mean, always, because there's always been fat people, so there's always been fat clothes, um, that need to be shared and advertised, so fat models are a thing. Um Guys are very distracting. Last night I took a time lapse video of myself crocheting a granny square, and I don't know, if they, have a requirement, like, if it's set to, like, basically smush it as fast as possible and make the video as fast as possible in under 30 seconds or something like that. Um, but man, when I watched that back, I was like, "Wow, I wish I could crochet that fast." I could barely see my hands moving. In fact, sometimes they were really blurry with how fast I was going, so I would like to be superhuman crochet, uh, speed crocheter. Um, yeah. Anyways, um, it's on Lake Simcoe. Oh, okay. Yes, that makes sense. I have not been to Lake Simcoe, so, um And okay, so I always like to know when we're watching these, and uh, my YouTube is definitely more used to me asking, but where is everybody um, watching from or hanging out from? Steven, still don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, said, I recently did the prison tour at Kingston Pen and it was super interesting. Have you ever gone? I have not, but mostly because the place is terrifying, and you always heard horror stories of it when I was a kid, and so I don't think I will ever go, mostly because I want to be able to sleep at night. But a few years ago, my mom took my grandpa, and my grandpa's since passed away, so like this was very funny. He was like 95 years old, walking around this like 100 and some year old prison, and he, like, climbed into one of the cells and shut the door behind him and pretended like he was in there, and it was adorable because he's like this, little old man, just, like anyway, it was hilarious, and just, like, not expected of something my grandpa would have done, and so, it is, like, the funniest thing. We have a photo of him in there, and yeah, it just was very funny. But, like, I've always, um, grown up with, like, a healthy respect of keeping distance from the prisons because in my area, there's actually so Napanee has a, um, what the Napanee has a, provincial detention center. There is Bath Institution plus, the Kingston Pen was open, plus, when I was a kid, there was what we called P for W, which was the prison for women, um, and, there is, um, also another prison in town that's still open. It kinda looks like Disneyland from the outside, and when we were a kid, my cousin definitely told me it was Disneyland, um but yeah, like, so we have a lot of prisons here, okay? I don't know how that happened, but being Canada's first capital, I think that's kind of how it started because, they everything was happening here. So that's only how Kingston Pen came to happen. But I don't know why we have so many others. Uh, but we do. So anyways, uh it's weird and, like, you definitely don't like, you hear lots of stories, and I just don't wanna be anywhere near them, thank you very much. Um, they held a movie night there, in October, like, they held, um they watched a series of prison movies, so, yeah. Anyways, um, okay, so we've got someone from Palm Springs, California, Louisville, Kentucky, Northeast England. Northeast England, it must be super late for you there. You should be sleeping or close to it at least. New Zealand, I don't even think my brain could grasp what time it is there for you. But probably about the same time, but 24 hours ahead of me, I guess, ish. Um, did anybody else? Okay, so not everybody observes daylight savings time. So, like, is anybody else suffering like I am? 10:39 AM. Okay, so, like, actually not 24, well, I mean, you're a day ahead, but not a full 24 hours. Um, is anybody else struggling with daylight savings time? Because, oh boy, I am struggling. My dog is struggling because her food is programmed to come at a certain time, and the dispenser does not change automatically with daylight savings time, so I have to reprogram it every time. She's like a cat. She just sits in front of it and waits. At least she doesn't beat it up anymore. She used to be scared of it too, which was very funny. I hope I'm not gonna have to tie on more yarn just at the very end of this square. Are you where you hope to be at your age, relationship-wise, career-wise? I never really put any thought into where I would be relationship-wise, like, not as a kid did I ever imagine getting married. Not as an adult have I ever imagined getting married. Like, I could care less. I don't really ever want to be in a relationship or get married. I don't want kids. Maybe one day I'd like to buy a house eventually, but like I'm almost 37. And so like that's probably far behind, like far away, but like I'm not real fussed by it. I would like to be more financially steady, and I'm definitely not where I thought I should be for that. However, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely give myself a lot more grace than most people do, when it comes to, like, that sort of thing because I just I don't really I used to think like, "Oh, I'm supposed to be doing all of these things," but I just work at a different speed than a lot of I've never been an overly fast person. I am ambitious and I have lots of things I wanna do, but I'm not a hustle till you die kinda person. I am a I'll get there when I get there kinda person, and that works for me, you know? Uh, it's 8:38 PM here. Yes, I am. It takes me a few weeks to adjust. Same age as my oldest son. Oh, okay. Look at that. See? I'm definitely gonna have to tie on more yarn because I'm going to run out. I'm going to lose at Yarn Chicken, and I don't want to because it sucks to have to tie it on right on the last row near the end just for like a little bit. I think I'm definitely gonna like this cardigan a lot more than the one I'd originally made with this yarn. It took me like 6 months to make it. It was all entirely single crochet stitches, and it took so long, and it was so heavy. And I made the sleeves, like, quite puffy. It kind of looked like I was wearing football equipment underneath of the sweater holding it out, and it just weighed so much that, like, I could barely lift it to work on it and put it together, so I frogged it, and it took hours to unravel. I am so close to the end. Alright, so I'm gonna tie on more. One second here. Um, yeah, it's 23:42 in England, so, like, just before midnight, I guess. So lovely to see you. I'm in the UK, so heading to bed, but great to see you. Well, you can always watch this back later on YouTube if you want to. You don't have to. I'm not, like, a big, uh, live rewatcher. I don't know why. Feels like I missed out on something if I'm not watching it actually live, so um, okay. Are you making it for yourself or a gift for someone? I only make for myself. Um, because people who, um, the people in my life who I would gift something to, um, they are not easy customers, let's say. The last time I made something for my mom, which was actually a very long time ago, I custom made her a skirt and like I let her pick out the fabric. I spent hours on it, like hours on this skirt. Um, It fit her so well. She's the one who asked for the skirt. Like, she didn't ask for the skirt, but I said, "Hey, can I make you something?" And she said, "Oh, you can make me a skirt." So I made her the skirt, right? And, she hated it. Like, I mean, she wore it, but she did not like it. And you could kinda tell that she was like, even though it fit her really well and it was really well done and it just, like, was perfect for her, even, like, all the colors she wanted, everything, she just you could just tell that she did not feel comfortable wearing it, and fair enough, but, like, then, she had to get rid of it, right? Like, she doesn't keep clothes around that she's not gonna wear. It's like it feels like, when you buy somebody a card and they just throw it out in front of you kinda deal, that hurts. So I don't make them anything unless it's like a blanket, or they, often ask me to turn their old t-shirts into pillows, which I'm really slow at doing, and I will take literally years to do it, but I have a stack of t-shirts and that I need to turn into pillows for a bunch of people in my house because they have old t-shirts they like, but, they don't fit anymore, they have a hole or they have a stain or something, and they want it to be turned into a pillow instead. So, that's easy enough. It's a square, so, um, but we only have, like, a little bit left on this one. I'll weave in the ends later. I'm not getting out my needle to do it now. But, TikTok can't see it, but YouTube, the pile behind me here, there you go, TikTok. That pile there is all of the squares and the back panel, in that basket, so I have another project on the go that I only do while working at the store when I'm not working on this, and it's just like a scarf. I've been working on it for a few months now. I only work on it at the store to keep my hands busy. No, I'm not making a skirt, I'm making a cardigan. Oh, uh, what's your YouTube name? It's just Danielle McAllister. And you can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/Danielle McAllister, or you can just search Danielle McAllister, although that is dangerous because you may find videos that people have made about me instead, where they're just like trolling me. So, yeah. Anyways, this is the little pouch that one of my baby bagoo bags came in, and I keep my embroidery scissors in it, and they're adorable. Can everybody see? Can everybody see how cute they are? The handles are heart shaped. Please ooh and ah with me like I did when I saw them. And done. And then I will weave in the end later. We are all done. The first square. My goal is to make, let's say, 4 on here. So I'll be here for a while. How long have we been going? How do I tell? Oh, 45 minutes. Okay, 45 minutes is not a good time. Um, um, that sounds good. Cool. I paid a company to make a blanket out of my old t-shirts. It wasn't cheap, but I love it. Yes. That definitely wouldn't be cheap because there's a lot of, like, with upcycling and using old clothes to make stuff, there's a lot of labor that goes into just deconstructing things, and preparing it for being made into the thing, because, like, it's not like flat fabric, right, where, you're just cutting it up from its flat state. um, there's a lot more work to it because I work a lot with recycled leather, and I buy it as, skirts, as leather skirts, and there's so much work. I used to use jackets, because that's what originally I had access to, not because I thought it was the best idea. It's just someone had given me a leather jacket and I took it apart, and that's kind of how I started, upcycling, but, um, I discovered, like, there's a lot of leather skirts out in the world, and people don't always wear leather skirts. They are also stained more often. They rip the butt out of them a lot, and they like will rip the side seams out. So once you rip through leather, you can't really fix it. You can't sew it back up like you would something else unless you just sort of ripped the stitches. And even then, you kind of have to hand sew it. Um, it's also really hard to get stains out of leather. You have to take it to a specialist dry cleaner, and yeah, it's hard to care for leather, but it's also hard to care for like leather jackets and stuff. You just have to be careful with them, right? But a leather jacket is way more useful than a leather skirt. Let's face it, a leather skirt is mostly just for looks. A leather jacket you can actually use for warmth. So I stopped upcycling jackets unless there's something that, like, I don't know, a big jacket with lots of flat available fabric or space that I can cut up, then maybe, but probably not. So, but yeah, it's much easier and more efficient, but there's still a lot of work to cutting up a leather skirt, um, and like making it into a flat piece that you can then cut stuff out of. And sometimes then you have to piece it together with other pieces from it into a bigger piece of fabric so that you can cut a big thing out of it. So, um, I'm doing a crochet bolero that is just enough to cover my chest and long, long arms. It's black tweed. Ooh, that'd be nice. Large fishnet stitches. That would be fun, actually. I think that'll look really cool. I've made 4 so far just to kick around the house with. That would be nice. The thing about like making like a nice like knitting a sweater or crocheting something, it's always like quite warm. So doing like a fishnet stitch style thing, would make it able to be worn a lot more and still keep you a little warm. Okay, let's see what TikTok has going on. Um, Thank you for following me. I appreciate that. Okay. Is anybody else making anything at the moment? I'm trying to learn how to knit as well, um, but it's not going well. Mostly because I've been spending most of my time crocheting instead. So I'm definitely not as entertaining as those raving hamsters on TikTok. So this is much more of a chill stream, simply because I could never keep up with that kind of energy. Has anybody else got those little hamsters on their feed? I get them all the time, and I don't understand how they keep coming up. But they also look like they're having so much fun. You've not seen those? Well, if you're on TikTok and you're scrolling through the lives, eventually you will find the raving hamsters. All right, somebody give me something to talk about. I can talk about just about anything, but you got to start it cuz otherwise I'm a very boring person. I hate past me for doing this. I like tied a bunch of smaller pieces together and now I have so many more ends to weave in and I didn't leave very long tails. Ugh, I curse past me every time I see that. You want me to talk about natural habitat? I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know what that would be. My natural habitat is in my house, away from people most of the time. I've also been obsessed with watching the PWHL, the Women's Professional Hockey League. Um, and I love it. I think I've picked Toronto as my team. Um, I think they're who I'm rooting for. But I will always root for Ottawa and Montreal as well, as long as they're not playing against Toronto. But like, I am obsessed. I'm so happy they've finally got to get their own league and are doing awesome things. So, and to Google Bolero, I had no idea or no clue. Uh, yeah, I mean, unless you've had to wear one before, it's not really like a common thing you see. At least not anymore. They might be coming back because, the 2000s fashion is back. So weave it in as you go. No, thank you. I will save all of my ends to the end. I like to do them with a darning needle. I don't like to use my crochet hook for it, and I get annoyed by the bits as I'm, like, trying to hold them in place and, like, crochet around them, so I just leave them at the ends, even though the ends are quite short. They're not super short, though, so I can still fit them through a needle. Um, I just, wish I'd have had better foresight into making the ends longer. Okay, let's see. Natural habitat. Why? Why is my natural habitat my house? And away from people? I don't know, because people are weird sometimes. They're loud. They ask you questions when you crochet in public. I once had someone when I was sitting in a Starbucks a few years ago. I was on my computer editing a video, and after I finished editing the video, I started to online shop because I can do that. It's my computer and my time. And a woman came up beside me and was like, "Shouldn't you be working?" And I was like, "What?" I'm so confused. Like, I had my headphones in and everything. She's like, "Yeah, aren't you here to work?" And I'm like, "I don't know you, lady. Like, I really, like, who are you? What is happening?" And she kept, like, telling me, "You should be working." I'm like, "I just finished all of my work, like, um, I'm done, and I'm self-employed, so I can do whatever the F I want." And she just kept going on him, and she's like, "Ugh, like, you're not s," and she was arguing with me. I'm like, I would work for myself, like, most of the time." Um, and so, like, if I'm out in public on my computer, I probably was working. And now I am online shopping, which is sometimes also part of my work for research and to try stuff, you know? Anyways, um, how did you learn? Um, I had to learn to crochet for school. So I went to fashion design school, and in my knitwear class, so we had 2 semesters of knitwear. One semester was dedicated to learning how to sew knit fabric, so like t-shirt materials, right? Um, and the other semester is learning how to create knit fabrics. Um, and so we had a choice. We could learn how to use a knitting machine, which there weren't that many. We only had 6 for a class of 30 or something like that. You could learn how to actually knit. And at the time, I'd already tried to learn from my grandmother and it did not go well. So I was kind of just reduced down to like crochet. And so I learned to crochet from another person in the class, actually, who already knew how. But I'm left handed, right? So when my teacher discovered I was left-handed and wanted to learn how to crochet, she basically said, "I can't teach you anything. Go on YouTube and learn for yourself." Except this was like 2008, and that's not what was on YouTube. Like YouTube was not like that sort of space at the time, and there was nothing for me to learn from at the time, and definitely not any left-handed instructions. So, yeah. So anyway, I just sat facing somebody, like I looked at the back of what they were doing, and that helped. My mom found me a really like sort of bad book about left-handed crochet, but it did get me started and showed me sort of like what it was supposed to look like. A lot of drawings in the book, so no photos, but now, there's a ton of, like, YouTube content for left-handed. I follow one page, and I cannot remember the name of them, where every time they come out with a tutorial, they post both a right-handed and left-handed version, which is amazing because there are different motions, and you kind of have to, if you're following a pattern, almost have to do the, line in reverse, like, I don't know how to explain it, but you kind of have to go in the opposite direction. So, yeah, I don't know how else to describe that. Um, let's see. I find it so hard because I got, that plushie kit. Oh, are you talking like the Woobles? Um, yeah, I mean, Woobles are it's different, right? Like, you're learning basically, you're doing the same stitch over and over again, right? And I've never bought one, mostly because 'cause they're really expensive, but I also have basically banned myself from making amigurumi, I think is how you say it, because I know once I start making little stuffies, I will never wanna stop, and I don't want, um, to have my house filled with stuffies. So, I'm not allowing myself to make them. And, yes, it is hard because, like, um, they they do make it seem, like, easy, right? Like, they give you all these directions, they even start it for you, but, that really just, like gives you a kickstart, and beyond that, if you wanna learn more, you really do need to get, like, books or be watching lots of YouTube, um, and you need to go to not YouTubers who've been crocheting for a long time, but you want to go to places that are giving you specific directions like you've never done it before in your life. So there's a lot of places that do that, but it just takes a little bit of searching, and honestly, I don't really use them. I use a lot of books. I have a collection of different crochet books that if I need to learn a stitch, that's where I'll go because then I'm not watching hand movements. As a lefty, it's really just about like knowing how many times I need to wrap it around. And I find watching a right handed person crochet um, is even more confusing for me. So I tend to stick a lot with books or online patterns and such. I can't show you my favorite book. They're all over there in the corner, far away. But I do have an entire book, or I have an entire video about all of my books on my YouTube. It's pretty recent. So if you go to my YouTube channel and just look for like the my book collection video from a couple of months ago. You'll be able to go through and watch for all of my crochet books, and they will give you a place to start. The one I'm working in right now, though, that I have here on my desk.